So the next thing that we're gonna make before we take another measurement is actually the waistband. You see, just like when we do the dress, we were like creating the color first. So in this case, we also need to create our, sorry for that, and we're gonna create the waistband first. So yeah, let's do it. So let's hide our measurement and let's bring our fabric back. Where's our fabric? So that is our fabric, and let's turn on our wireframe and let's duplicate that. So first I think I'm gonna put this on dress, right? All of these, right? Because that belongs to the dress department. So yeah, so let's hide it, and that is our fabric. So let's call it waistband for this. And for the waistband, we're gonna delete all that, and we're gonna use our this. And yeah, so the waist. So even though that the waist is divided by 4, but to make the waistband, we're just gonna have to divide it by 2, right? Because that they're gonna be like circle around the waist, and yes, like that. So it should just be divided by 2, and 72 divided by 2 is 36. So we're gonna create a 36, sorry, we're gonna create a 36 long, something like that here, right? That is 36, and we're gonna delete everything else, right? So for the width of the waistband, you can, so let's see our model. So the thing is, for the waistband, you can choose between 3 or 4 centimeters. For women though, the thing is, anatomically, women has kind of a shorter waist, right? I mean shorter hip bone. So unless you want to create a really high waist, you know, like the model has kind of a really tall waist, that's when you should do like 4 centimeters. But if the model is kind of having a short waist, it's kind of better for you to make like 3 centimeters waistband. So that is what we're gonna do, because the model in here is kind of a normal, has a normally short waist length. So let's do 3 for this model, and that is our 3, right? And we're gonna delete everything else, right? Face. So that is our waistband, and that is that. You don't have to shape it, just like when we do color. It's practically just a strip of fabric, and we're gonna bring that up to our first I think we're gonna rotate it, rotate the fabric so that it's kind of a pointing up, right, in edit mode. And so yeah, that is convenient, and we're gonna snap it to this point right here, there. So this is just to make it a little bit faster, right? And we're gonna rotate this the same number as this, right? It's 20, so it should be rotated by 20 as well. So let's bring our model back, and yeah, so apparently that is kind of a 2. Yep, let's move it a little bit along the Y, right? So let's move it here, right? That's like 5 millimeter, I think, maybe 1 centimeter, something like that, so that it's not touching the skin. And yes, just like what we did with the collar, we're gonna kind of shape the collar sorry, in this case, waistband along the hip, or the waist in this case. And sorry, we just have to snap the cursor there first, and yeah, let's sorry, yep, there. And we're gonna shape this along the local axes, right? So that they kind of has a proper axis to rotate to. And yeah, this is shaping the waistband, to be honest, and that is kind of a tedious job, but yeah, let's do it brick by brick for this case. And yeah, anyway, maybe this is also the thing that I should talk about. I'm kind of sorry if my microphone kind of picks up the keyboard thing, because even though I've kind of apologized for that before, but it just seems that it's kind of an annoying thing to hear, the clicky thing. So yeah, so it's a little bit noisy, but I kind of like it actually, the sound of a keyboard, right? So let's bring that here. And yeah, it's almost done. And right now, you would notice that, well, the waist is kind of a little bit too big, isn't it? Right? Because you've got extra fabric around here. So why is that? So even though that we have measured this to be like 72 faces, right? Because, well, this thing is 70, this measurement is 72, right? So why is it still a little bit too big? Well, the reason for that is, so let's bring another drawing. So even though that I've explained earlier that this is our hips, right? So even though that it's true that our waistline is angled, but the thing is, our waistline is not a straight angled line. You see, I know it's kind of confusing, but to be honest, the shape of our hips, or hip bone, the ilium of our hip bone is actually something like that. It's still angled, so if you pull a line from the front to the back, you will have that angled straight line, but in reality, there's a bit of curve to it, right? So yeah, so that is the reason why our waistband is a little bit too big, because it should be kind of curved. So this is the front part, right? And this is the back part. So the front part should be angled a little bit more before they kind of return back to more of a straight line at the back part. So that is how it should be shaped. And to be honest, you can actually see it right from the model itself. You can see that this is the hip, the waistline, right? So as you can see that they kind of curve. So let's bring my annotation and go to annotation. Let's make another one, and you can see that there is curve here, and then they kind of taper back to the straight line at the back. So this is the front part, right? This is the front, and this is the back. So they kind of create that angle. So if it's being simplified, you can get that and that, right? So that's not exactly a straight line like this. So yeah, so let's see and let's fix our angled waistline. So let's duplicate that and go to our measurement and let's see. So yep, now this is our measuring tool. So this is 72 centimeters, right? So if you cut that by half, you've got 36 centimeters, right? So let's see where is the half of this. So that is 33, right? So what if we include this? Will it be 36? So that is going to be 38. So we just have to pull this to the front, right? Something like that. And until it touches 36, right? Something like that. Now, that is, this line is 36 centimeters, right? So we're gonna rotate everything at the back here, right? And we're gonna use this, we're gonna use these 2 points as the anchor point, right? So we're gonna rotate all this with our 3D cursor, and we're gonna rotate something like that, right? So we're gonna make this a straight line to the back. So we're gonna rotate it another 20 degrees centimeters. 20 degrees. So that is our new shape, and that is our old shape, right? So let's hide that. And this is the old angled waist, and this is the new angled waist, which is kind of curved a better, they kind of match better with how our actual hips are actually shaped. So so let's see the measurement for this. So let's bring back our shrink wrap, and let's bring our model, and let's do the thing again, right? -5 millimeters, right? So first I think we have to kind of make this a little bigger along the y-axis, right? Because it's kind of it's piercing through the skin. So yes, so let's turn our shrink wrap and let's apply it. So this is the old angled waist, and this is our new angled waist. And if you go down there, if you delete all and then remeasure everything, you would see that wait a minute. So sorry. Yeah, it shouldn't be that you shouldn't just straight back the back part, right? So the thing is, the idea, if you go back to our drawing, you would see that the front part is going to be a little bit more angled than this is the old, right? This is the new. So they kind of more angled to the top than the old one. So first we have to kind of rotate this entire thing to the top, something like that, right? So let's add another 20, right? Let's bring our trousers, and yeah, that should be good, right? That, if you see that, they kind of matches with this line. And for the back part, let's hide our model, and we're gonna choose this thing again to rotate the back part, and it's gonna be straight, and it's gonna be another 20 degrees, something like that. And we're gonna reapply the shrink wrap modifier. First, let's scale this up so that it's kind of not buried under the skin. and project -5 millimeters, and let's reapply our shrink wrap. So if you resegment the entire thing right now, you would see that the measurements of our hip, the waistband, is actually only 68, right? It's not 72, but it's rather actually a 68. So yeah, so let's change this to 68, and it's gonna make it to be 17. So if you go back to our fabric, right? So let's bring back our fabric waistband. So we're gonna cut another centimeters off from the waistband. So this one totaling at 75. So it's still 70. So this one is another one. So this one is 34. 34 multiplied by 2 is 68. So that is the correct measurement for our waistband. So now it doesn't look like it's actually too big, right? So yeah, let's prove it. So if you duplicate that and reapply our mirror modifier and go that, only face, and let's run a cloth simulation, and we're gonna choose something like leather again, just like what we did with color, and go sewing 5 and 5 millimeters, self collision is 2.5 millimeters. So now let's run it, and now you would see that they fit our waist perfectly. However, you would notice that the thing is, you would see that the bottom part is actually great, but the top part is kind of this excess flappy thing, right? So yeah, let's so to fix that, this is actually what you can do, right? So to fix the flappy excess part of the upper part of the waistband, what we can do is actually to cut. So let's cut this first, and to fix that, we can actually create a kind of a diagonal line here, right, at the front, and we're gonna delete this and faces, and we're gonna do exactly the same thing with the back part right here. So it's gonna create that V shape, right? And we're gonna delete all that, and we're gonna join them with with a sewing thread, and we're gonna resew the front part, and yeah, that is our newly created waistband shape. And if we run our simulation again, you would see that now the waistband fits our body perfectly. As you can see that they kind of move along the waist nicely, just like the anatomy of the body, and that is our waistband. So let's save it as a shape key, right? So this is our waistband. So that is our first fabric shape. Okay, now with this newly created waistband, what we're gonna do with it is to create few extra measurements, right? So the first measurement that we're gonna take is actually the crotch line. So if you bring so let's hide our model, and let's bring back our template, right? So we've got this line that stretch from the front right to the back. So that is the next thing that we're gonna make. So to make that, we're gonna use our plane, right? and we're gonna duplicate it, and we're gonna make this as our origin, right? So let's do that, and yeah. Now, where to start the crotch line is actually this very point, right? So this is our waistband. So this is where it should start, right? Sorry. Now let's delete the vertices, and actually the crotch line is gonna circle the crotch right to the bottom and then curve up to the here to the back of the waistband. So actually let's duplicate that and let's snap it there. So basically this is it starts from here, goes to the bottom, around the crotch, and then so to do that, let's just bring our annotation so that you can see what I'm thinking. And so the crotch line will be starting from this point, and then they will, let's bring our model. So let's turn on this. So they will go down to the crotch, and they will taper, and then they will go up to the top and meet here, right? So they will create that shape. So that is our crotch line. So yeah, let's actually make it. So first you have to divide this by 2, right? Because the thing about the crotch is actually that it's the front and the back part. So they're gonna be like 2 crotch area. One belongs to the front and one belongs to the back. So we're gonna divide it by 2, right? So to know that which is the front and which is the back. So where should we put this middle point, right? So to do that, we can actually use our thigh measurement, right? So our thigh is 32 edges, right? So 32, if you divide 32 by 2, if you divide it by half, you will get 16. So this is 16, right? So this is the middle point of our thigh, right? So we're gonna use this inner thigh, this middle inner thigh, right? So this is the half of the thigh, and we're gonna use this vertex information in the y axis, and we're gonna use it here, right? And we can just paste it, and that is our meeting point. So we just have to drag this down, right? So actually we can just turn off our mirror so you can see it from the middle easier, right? So yeah, let's bring back our crotch line. So I'm gonna drag this down, right, to somewhere around that. Don't make it like too kind of a tight around the crotch. You would want extra distance there, and yeah, now we can just subdivide it a few times until we can shape it better, right? So this is just a matter of shaping. So yeah, something like that, and yeah, that is good for the front. And now we have to deal with the back, right? Now let's subdivide it by 2, right? Let's bring this here, subdivide it, maybe go it there, and go it there, and yeah, that is actually a good shape. So let's hide our model, and let's see if let's even this thing out, right? So yeah, that is our crotch line, and it fits. Let's see if it fits our character. Maybe this one is a little bit too long, right? So, right, let's make another subdivision there so that you can shape it a little bit better, right? And yeah, now that is good. So that is our crotch line. So the next thing that we're gonna do with this crotch line is actually to know the distance between this point and our straight waistline, which is this, right? So to do that, we have to subdivide our crotch line, and we're gonna use the information of the Z of this straight waist, and we're gonna paste that here, something like that. And let's see. Okay, let's bring that to the front, right? So that it's kind of a little bit more straight. And yeah, so that is our crotch line. And the reason why we have to take this is because, you see, the thing about trousers is that the back part, especially for women's trousers, is the thing. The thing is that women has, you know, extra volume when it comes to the rump or ass area. So to kind of support that extra mass, usually the back part, the back panel of the trousers will have kind of a extra fabric on the back panel. So this distance is actually to measure that extra fabric, right? So that's why we have to measure this. How to use it, we're gonna tell you later when we draft this thing. So that is our first extra measurement. And the second thing that we're gonna do is actually similar to this, but it's going from the side of the waistband down to the thigh. So let's actually duplicate this and let's rename it first. This is the crotch line, right? And we're going to duplicate that, and we're going to delete everything but this, right? So first we're going to call it actually from waist to thigh, right? So we're gonna snap it right to the middle of this waistband. So this thing is 34, as you know, and half of it is gonna be 17. So that is gonna be our 17. So the thing is, the reason why we have to snap it, because we have to divide this thing front and back, right? So let's bring a new material. Let's call it waistband front and then waistband back, just to make it a little bit clearer to see. So let's go 0.5, sorry, 0.5, 0.1, right? Oh no, something like that. And for the back, we're gonna do something like that. So this is the front one, right? 17 faces, and this is gonna be the back part, right? So we're gonna select all that so that it's gonna be a little bit easier for us to see, right? So the same thing with the right area, right? The right part, and that's 17, that is 17. So we're gonna select everything here. So yep, now that is our divided waistband, and the next thing that we're gonna do is to snap this vertex right to this meeting point, right? So So that's what we're gonna do, and we already did that. And yeah, now what we're gonna do is to extrude this right to the middle of our angled hips, right? So this is our hips is like, how big is our hips again? So our hips is 96, right? Okay, that is 96. So we're gonna snap it to something 96. Okay, 48, right? So we're gonna snap it right to here, because this is the middle point of the hips, the hip line, because it's 48 and the full circumference is 96. 96 divided by 2 is 48, and so this is the middle point of the hip line. So yes, so we're gonna use this 3D cursor, and we're gonna extrude this, and we're gonna snap it there. So that creates this angled line, and that's okay. And the next thing we're gonna extrude this again, and then snap it to the middle of this. So we know that this is the half thigh. So we're gonna snap it now to the outer part of the thigh. Now we can use the 3D cursor again, and we can extrude that, and we get a selection to 3D cursor. So this is our new line, waist to thigh. So yeah, that is 2 measurements that we take, and yeah, let's input that to our notepad, right? So crotch line. Our crotch line, remember that, so this is our middle point, right? So we're gonna measure this first. So no, I think we're gonna measure the entire thing first, right? It's 45, right? 45 centimeters. And the division of it is gonna be, this is the front part, right? And the front part is 21. And the back part, which is this, right? With this extra raised thing, and that is 25. So okay, now that is 25, right? Okay, now 25. The thing is, now the 21 add by 25, it's actually 46, not 45. So yeah, I think we're gonna make this 46 instead. So 21 at the front, and then 25 at the back, right? And we should also notice that this raised, let's add another one, raised, what is it called again? Raised crotch again, and back crotch, right? So the raised crotch, back crotch is 4 centimeters, right? And that's just something that we should add. And yeah, that is our first measurement. And we're gonna take the second measurement, that is the waist to thigh, and yeah, we're gonna segment them, and we're gonna do this, right? So from the waist to thigh, right? So first, let's do it from the waist to hips, right? So it's gonna be 15 centimeters, and then the hips to thigh is 12 centimeters, right? So that is our second few extra measurement. And yeah, I think that's it, to be honest. And that is the only measurement that we need to take. So uh, that's height. Oh no, that's already good. And yeah, this is our very final measurement, right? And this is the measurement, the processed measurement that we already took. If you want to do screenshots and whatever, you can screenshot this right now. So that is our measurement. And so